All right, today we're diving into Solana, one of the fastest and frankly most talked about technologies in the crypto space. We're going to break down what makes it tick, why it's such a huge deal for things like NFTs and gaming, and ask the big question, could this be the key to bringing crypto to the masses?
So let's kick things off with a feeling I'm sure we've all had. You're trying to make a transaction on one of the older blockchains, and it feels like you're just stuck in a digital traffic jam, right? The confirmations are slow, and the fees can be surprisingly high. That frustration, that is the exact problem that technologies like Solana were built from the ground up to solve.
And wow, this chart really puts it into perspective, doesn't it? I mean, look at this. On one end, you've got Bitcoin, chugging along at about 7 transactions per second. Then you look all the way over at Solana, which claims a theoretical speed of over 50,000 transactions per second. And the fees? We go from can be high to fractions of a penny. This right here is why Solana gets so much attention.
So what is it that makes Solana so different? Well, it was built from day one with a single, laser-focused mission, to be as fast, as cheap, and as scalable as the modern internet itself.
Okay, so what is Solana's secret sauce? I mean, how in the world does it actually achieve this incredible speed? Well, it all comes down to one core innovation that completely changes how the network agrees on the concept of time.
And here it is, proof of history, or POH for short. You can think of POH as a super fast, universally agreed upon clock for the entire network. So instead of a bunch of computers all over the world wasting time and energy arguing about when a transaction happened, they can just look at the shared clock to know the exact order of events. It's genius.
And here's the best way to think about it, using a perfect analogy from the source material. Imagine a bank queue. With proof of history, every single transaction that shows up gets a timestamp. It's like taking a number. Then the system just processes them in that exact order. Boom, 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 super quickly. There's no need for everyone to stop and debate who is next in line. It just flows.
So what does all this incredible speed and efficiency actually mean for you, the user? Well, look at that number. Incredibly low costs. The average transaction fee is a tiny, tiny fraction of a cent. This makes things like micropayments or even, paying for a coffee with crypto not just possible on a blockchain, but actually practical. And all this efficiency isn't just about speed and cost. It's also about energy. Instead of that energy-guzzling process we call mining, Solana uses something called proof of stake. This just means that network security comes from users locking up their own funds as collateral. The result? It uses a tiny fraction of the electricity, making it way more eco-friendly.
Okay, the tech is super impressive, I get it. But what does that mean for you? What can you actually do on Solana? Let's go check out the playground.
It turns out that crazy speed and those tiny costs are the perfect recipe for things like NFTs, Web3 gaming, and what we call decentralized finance, or DeFi. Basically, it's things that require a lot of transactions and fast. Web3 is all about a new internet owned by its users, and DeFi is about finance without the big banks. Solana's performance makes all this stuff actually work on a massive scale.
Let's zero in on NFTs for a second. Solana has become this massive hub for them, and for one simple reason. Creating, buying, and selling digital art costs next to nothing. Think about it. On some other networks, a single transaction could set you back $50 in fees. On Solana, it's less than a penny. That low barrier to entry makes it incredibly welcoming for newcomers.
And this isn't some small niche thing. The ecosystem is absolutely massive. You've got platforms like Magic Eden, which is the largest Solana marketplace, and Tensor, which is more for the pro traders. These have become the go-to destinations. You can think of them as the eBay for Solana NFTs.
And it's the exact same story when we look at gaming. The network's high performance is just perfect for these really complex Web3 games that have thousands of in-game items as NFTs. Projects like Star Atlas and Orrery are literally building entire virtual economies on top of Solana's foundation.
Okay, so maybe you're thinking, this sounds pretty cool, I'm curious. How do you actually get started without getting lost? Let's walk through the simple and, more importantly, safe steps to get you going.
Honestly, it just boils down to these 3 simple steps. First, you need a wallet. Think of it as your digital bank account. Phantom and Solflare are the most popular ones. Second, you'll need to get some of the network's coin, which is called Sol, from an exchange. And third, you just connect that wallet to an app and start exploring. It's that easy.
Now, stop. Before we go one step further, this is, without a doubt, the single most important piece of advice in this entire explainer.
When you create your wallet, you're going to get a secret seed phrase. This phrase is the master key to everything, to all your funds. Write it down, store it somewhere safe offline, and you must never, ever share it with anyone for any reason. Seriously.
Now, once you have some SOL, there's something else cool you can do called staking. By locking up your SOL with someone who helps run the network, you're basically helping to secure the entire thing. And in return for that service, you earn rewards, often at a way, way higher yield than you'd ever get in a traditional savings account.
All right, we've talked a lot about the good stuff, about the promise of Solana. But to be fair and to give you the complete picture, we also need to talk about the problems it's faced along the way. Because no technology is perfect.
So let's lay it all out. On the one hand, the pros are obvious. Blinding speed, fees that are almost zero. It's eco-friendly, and it's an amazing place for NFTs and gaming. But, and this is a big but, the source material is very clear about the downsides too. The network has had outages where it just went offline, and some critics argue it's less decentralized than, say, Bitcoin or Ethereum because the computers needed to run it are more expensive. It's powerful for sure, but it's also still evolving.
Okay, so let's wrap this all up. What are the key things to remember? Number 1, Solana is a blockchain built to be incredibly fast and cheap. 2, its secret weapon for that is proof of history. 3, this has made it a major hub for NFTs and Web3 gaming. 4, getting started is pretty easy, but security is absolutely crucial. And finally, 5, it's a really powerful technology, but it's still very much a work in progress.
And all of this really leads us to one final massive question for the future. Solana was designed from the beginning to be practical and easy to use. With that relentless focus on making the experience fast and cheap, you really have to wonder, could this be the technology that finally makes Web3 easy enough and accessible enough for the next billion people to use? I guess only time will tell.